ready for the show? It's about to begin. Pro fan talk where we dive right in. Sports talk, hot takes, ain't nothing we lack. We the real fans, nothing holding us back. Mic check, 1, 2, y'all know the drill. We bringing the energy, we keep it real. Touchdowns on liquid air, on the slam dunks on the court. Every sport, every game, we holding down the fort. We breaking down the plays, dissecting the stats. Pro fan talk, we keeping it fat. Debating with passion, no filter, no doubt. We the voice of the fans, we scream and we shout.
What's going on, good people? Happy Thursday to you. We are in the building. What's good with you? Hope you're having a good Thursday. Hope you're having a good day. I had a good day. Can't complain. And even if I did, would it matter? So, watched some golf today. The British Open started today. So I was watching that. Got a lot of work done on the job. And then we get the breaking news for tonight. The theme of tonight's conversation. It's all about this CBA deal. All about this CBA deal. We're gonna get some good conversation. I'm hoping a couple friends show up from the chat, from the Twitterverse that I've been into, Twitter Spaces. Hopefully, I can get some people from that group on because we had a really good conversation last night. Excellent conversation last night. So this is a nuanced thing. I was going to produce a video for tonight, but once I saw the information about what's her name, Annie Costabello, is it Costabello? Costabile, Annie Costabile. I think that's how you can pronounce it, Costabile. Once I saw this, and we'll get into this in a second, I was like, okay, let's really get into it. I've got a Twitter friend. I hope she is able to join the cast tonight because I want her to get her on the mic. I'm gonna drop the links early tonight because this is a conversation. This is not a monologue tonight. So we got to get into this conversation tonight. So I'm hoping some of my friends will be on and we can talk about this because they you know what? Let me see if I can open up another one. Hold on. Duplicate tab. Let me. There we go. Let me scoop me over a little bit. There we go. So we'll get to this in a minute. But what I want to get to is I put out a couple tweets today about that. Let me see if I can find it. That's the Caitlin Clark news. We'll get into that a little bit. Anybody that wants to play 2K25, I'm thinking about purchasing that. Eagles getting their rings pretty soon. Brian Brayman passed away. I don't think I met him. I may have met him at an alumni day, but like I may have met him, but I don't remember like meeting, like getting to know him. So, but still a sad story. Let me see. Satu Sabali was out, and I'm trying to find the one tweet I had. It was talking about. I think I was responding to somebody's comments about the negotiations going over the 2 hour mark. And it got into the conversation about it being like how much time they spent in there. And my comment was if it had been a short meeting or on time, I would have thought there was problems because the stuff that's coming to the table now, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take a minute because you got to go back and forth. It's a negotiation. And just like I said, what was it? I guess about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, where NECA and I think Stewie came out and they were really down on like the first proposal. And I'm like, what did you expect from the first proposal? Like, what did you really expect to come from that? In my opinion, like today, at the with the umbrella of the All-Star game, you got a lot of people coming in, you got a lot of eyes on you, you got a lot of money coming in. Today was the first real conversation. And I'm saying that as looking at it from a fan's perspective, because now you got the pressure of everybody's watching. So for the owners and for the player reps, this was the first real conversation because everybody was in on it. I'd be curious to see how many of the players showed up to that meeting because I think it was a lot. When you're talking about usually like 8 to 10 people in the meeting representing your one side, and now you got 20, 30, 40 women representing the league. Caitlin Clark was supposed to be in there. I know Courtney Williams had some things to say, but she was basically like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just watching. And that's most likely a very common theme with a lot of these people that aren't used to going into these type of negotiations. Because there's a lot of legalese, there's a lot of uh legal jargon that's gonna go right over their head. Let's keep it a buck. It's gonna go right over their head. Meetings like this are the reasons why you hire an agent. So the agent can go through your contract because you can't read all of that stuff. Therewith and hereby too is owed $1,000 per every 5 minutes they play. Like the legal jargon and the verbiage they use in contracts, that is why you hire an agent. Or in some cases, you've seen in some sparse cases in the NFL, some guys won't hire an agent. They will hire a lawyer or a litigator to work their contract for you. And then what they do is normally when you have an agent, you pay an agent like 3% of your contract. So if you get $100 million contract, they getting 30, you know, 30 grand of that, or whatever the math works out to. I'm sorry, my math ain't mathing, but they get 3% or 5% of your contract. And basically what that amounts to is they don't just take a flat cut. If you making X amount of money, but your weekly check is 10 grand a week, well then he gets 3% out of that 10 grand every week. That's the way it goes. So when some players will elect to hire a lawyer, and the reason why they do that is because if they hire a lawyer, they can pay the lawyer a flat fee. He does what he's paid to do, he negotiates the contract, then he's out. And then if you need him again, you renegotiate a new flat fee and you rinse and repeat. It seems like a lot of money, but when you look at, like, usually you use quarterbacks as the example in the NFL because quarterbacks are the ones making 90, $120 million a year, stuff like that. Them crazy contracts. But that's what they do. So um yeah, Graylin is that's easy to say, but it's a lot more nuanced than that. And this is a situation where you can't say that. And what I mean by that is if Caitlin Clark is about the league, then you can't say that because this is a all for one for all mentality. That's why I was um, very much against when Angel Reese was on her podcast and she said what she said. Well, when they accused her of saying that they was gonna lock out, she didn't say that. She was just telling of what she had heard. Now she kind of said it in a kind of like a lazy way and kind of like a flippant or a just like a passe way. Um, and my thing was, if you are not in the meetings and you don't truly understand what's going on, don't speak on it. Because if you just talking about it and you just jabbering about it and gossiping about it, everything you say when it comes to a CBA negotiation affects everybody in the league. So if you're not in those meetings, do not say anything because you don't want to get anything misconstrued, twisted, nothing. Anytime you're talking about a league wide negotiation, a CBA negotiation, everything you say, you are speaking for the league. So you can't just blow it off because it was on your podcast. And again, she didn't say what everybody accused her of saying. I went back and watched her podcast in its entirety. And that was, I believe, when Dejanay Carrington was on there. And she made the point, and even Dejanay said it kind of in jest, like, yeah, you need to get to the meetings. You need, well, how she say it? You need to get to the meetings. And Angel was like, yeah, I need to go to some of those meetings. Damn right. Damn right. And before we got this started, I went back and looked up um like what happened in the 2011 NBA lockout. What happened with that? What was it about? Because they're going to be in the same boat, and this is it right here. They might call it something different, but that's it right there in a nutshell. That's what this is going to come down to. Basketball related income. Now they might call it something else in the W, but this is what it's coming down to. Basketball related income. And this is now again, let me give you context. This was in 2011. This was the NBA lockout in 2011. And these are, I went and got bullet points on what was going down. What did they want? This is the biggest thing they wanted. Just like in the WNBA, they want more money. They want more equity in the league. They want a bigger piece of the pie. Division of basketball related income. This is what the NBA called it. This is the primary sticking point. Under the expiring 2005 CBA, players received 57% of BRI. Owners wanted to reduce it, initially proposing 47%, while players countered with 53%. That's that back and forth I was telling you about. The eventual agreement landed a split between 49 and 51% for the players, a significant concession from the players' side. So technically, the owners won that battle, but the players got it on the other side because they got their soft cap. That's one of the bargaining chips. Okay, if we gonna give up, if we gonna drop from 53 to 51%, well then you ain't gonna have a hard cap. The owners wanted a salary cap like the NFL has back in 2005 or 2011. They wanted a hard cap that basically a salary cap says each team can only spend a maximum of 150 million total on all of the players, all of the free agents, all of the draft picks, the signing bonuses, everything that goes into signing a player. You have a hard cap of 150 million dollars. That's just a hypothetical number. I don't know if that's true or not. That's a hypothetical number. But what that means is, what that does is you take somebody, and I'll flip it back to the WNBA. If you take a team like Indianapolis is a small market. The Indianapolis Colts are in a small market. Pittsburgh Steelers are in a small market. New York is big. LA is big. San Francisco is big. Philadelphia is big. Dallas is big, but not as big. Chicago, you got to look in the city that you're in. Is it a big market or is it a small market? Green Bay, very small market. And what happens is teams that the New York Liberty, the Las Vegas Aces, the LA Sparks, Golden State, they are in large markets. They can get more people, they can charge more money. So just in their proximity and how they do business, they are going to make more money than somebody like the Dallas Wings or somebody like the Connecticut Sun or somebody like the Indiana Fever. They're just going to make more money. They got more people and they have access to more. So what was happening was the teams in those big markets could spend more money on the players. The teams in the smaller markets couldn't, which is why you always saw Boston and the Lakers going at it. Because the Lakers in Boston and the New York Knicks, they had all of the money. Utah Jazz didn't. Utah Jazz used to be in New Orleans. So it's a money thing. And I'm saying all that to say, when you got these big market teams, the players want a bigger split of that money. Follow the money. Because that's what it's going to come down to. The WNBA players, They want the same thing. They want a bigger split of that money. They want to share equity. They want a piece of the media rights. They want a piece of the media rights. Remember that. Because the media rights, especially in this day and age with YouTube, Hulu, Prime, Ion, Xfinity, all of these cable, ESPN ain't it no more. ABC ain't it no more. They making more money from the social media and the online than they do from your terrestrial cable company and things of that nature. So I've said this before. Um, when you get up in the morning, what's the first thing you do? You go to the bathroom and you sit on the toilet and you check your phone. You sit up in the bed and you check your phone. How many people actually turn on the news anymore? The first thing you go to is your phone or your iPad. Then you might see what's on television. And a lot of people, they don't gotta watch television because they'll stream it to their phone. How many commercials do you see where somebody's watching an iPad in the kitchen while they cooking or something like that? They got smart refrigerators that'll show you your morning TV shows on the refrigerator. Everything is online. Everything is mobile. So companies like Xfinity and Verizon, they got to change the game up. So that's what is coming down to. So Tiff, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna come up with. That's what we trying to figure out. That's what we're gonna talk about. That's what we're gonna talk about. Because this is now you get under you know, let me see if I can find that. That's 2001. All right. So the WNBA players, right? The WNBA players. And before I forget, let me drop this link now because I said I was going to drop the link early, and I'm going to drop it early. Um, make sure y'all hit the like button too. Now I will remind you, if you want to come on and give your comments, just please try to keep it respectful. I mean, we all grown, so if you drop a couple bombs or whatever, it's all good, but don't get excessive. And please try not to be disrespectful. Um, and say your piece and try to keep it short, especially if we got other people trying to get on. If you want to get on the mic, you do not need a camera. I know some people feel some kind of way about coming on camera. You do not need a camera. But if you on your phone, or even if you do have a webcam, you can turn the webcam off and we can still hear you. So just letting y'all know. So the link is dropped. You got a couple minutes. I'm gonna see who wants to jump on. And you can be brief. You might have a real quick take. Get in and get out. That's all good. But let's take a look at this. WNBA players are seeking in the new collective bargaining agreement increased salaries, improved benefits, and a larger share of the league revenue. There we go. Remember what I said. They might call it something different. Basketball related income over here. They just calling it league revenue, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Now, what they can negotiate is what is in league revenue. Well, media rights is going to be in league revenue, merch sales, ticket sales, and everything that goes around sponsorship deals and things of that nature. So they can negotiate what exactly goes in league revenue. That can be negotiated. They can take some things out, they can add some things in, but they're gonna go back and forth because that's where the money is. But if you heard the conversations I was having last night, the 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 real sticking point is going to be better salaries and the hard cap, hard or soft cap, which will let you pay your main player more than 250K. You can go up to 500 or whatever they negotiate. But there's got to be a where's the balance in that? Where's the balance? What are they going to do with amnesty? Amnesty is what lets you, I guess, and again, let me reference this with the NBA. Amnesty is what will give some teams the opportunity to pay one player 500, 750. They used to call it the Larry Bird rule. And I think where the Players Association, where it's going to be iffy is because they're operating. And this, now let me pause it and say, this is my opinion. They are operating in a space where well, we make this much money, we bring this much to the table. You see the viewership going up, you see all the endorsements we getting, we bring in this, and this, and we making this much money. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna estimate everything that's happened, and they're gonna put a dollar value on it, and they're gonna say, "Hey, we bringing this much money to the table. It's never been like this before," and they are correct. And what the owners are going to say is like, well, let me see what our numbers say. And the way we add it up, our accountants say you're bringing in this much money. And you're right. It's never been like this before. And because it's never been like this before, that's not a bargaining chip in your favor. So that's what they're going to be going back and forth on. It's man, this is interesting stuff. Interesting stuff because it all goes down to who's got the value. But what does value mean when you're talking about a league that's been losing money from the giddy up? And if the NBA decides to say, you know what, we're gonna wipe our hands of it, we're not sponsoring nothing. The NBA will be just fine. The WNBA won't, because that means they got to pick up the bill for all of it: player salary, um, franchise employment, the cost to hold a game at an arena. Like most people don't think about that. That shit ain't free. Do you realize how many people work at Gamebridge Fieldhouse, or they work at the arena in Las Vegas or down in Atlanta or LA? Then you got to worry about taxes and you know all of that stuff. Like the cost to operate business is ridiculous. And sometimes it appears to me that that is part of what they forget about. It's not just the players on the court, it's everybody moving in the same direction to make the game happen. There's a janitor that had come in and waxed the floor. Somebody had to go and change that stadium light that blew out in the arena. So somebody had to get on the rope, pull themselves up, or get on the giant cherry picker. Somebody had to make sure the jumbotron was working right. All of that stuff costs money. You saw Angel Reese and Sanaya Rivers just last week. Each of them had an incident with somebody in the crowds. You got to pay security. All of that stuff costs money, and it ain't cheap. You don't want cheap security. You don't want cheap graphics and production. And every time you go to halftime, and it's funny now because we watch it on the WNBA League Pass, and when they go to halftime, we still seeing what they doing on the court at halftime. Somebody got to pay the dancers. Somebody got to pay for all them t-shirts that they shooting with the t-shirt cannon. Somebody got to pay the mascot. How much money a year do you think whoever is under that Ellie suit in New York, Ellie the elephant? She's probably the top mascot in the WNBA. How much are they paying her or him? Whoever's under that mask. Then you got to pay the dancers, coordination, all of that. The DJ. That's a running cost, and it ain't cheap. What, they gonna get a discount, get Flau'jae to do everything, be rapping and DJing? Come on now. So, all right, hold on. I'm gonna go through some of these chats, man. Go through some of these chats. Um, the girls should get 200K each private drivers to and from games with security. The league generating more than enough to afford that. I agree, but to me, you can't do that. You can't do that because, and here it is. Um, when you go to Gamebridge Fieldhouse, how many Caitlin Clark jerseys do you see in there? How many Sydney Colson jerseys do you see? So clearly, the pull, the attraction is Caitlin Clark, not Sydney Colson. So you can't pay him the same. It would be nice if everybody could do that. That's the problem they're going through right now in college sports, the NIL. Somebody proposed that make it a even field, pay everybody the same. Well, you can't pay everybody the same because everybody ain't selling their jerseys in the stadiums. If you the starting quarterback at Alabama and everybody in the stadium is wearing your jersey in the stadium and them jerseys cost $95 a piece and it's filled up in a stadium that fits 60, 70,000 people, why should he be paid the same as the walk-on? Is you can't do that. So you gotta establish the value. So that sounds good in theory, but if I'm dropping 25, 30 a game and I got somebody else that's playing 10 minutes a game, that math ain't mathing. So you can't do that. Pantera, Pantera. Huh. Hey man, I think it will be a lockout. And I think CC can rest, rehab, and go to Europe to gain more experience. She needs to get in more shape to play well. Uh, mm, you know what? I'm gonna give it one or two more meetings before I say it's gonna be a lockout. But I would tend to agree with you. I would tend to agree with you because it seems to me, again, my opinion. This is not fact. This is my opinion based thus far, which is not a lot, to be honest. But I think NECA and Fee and Stewie and those representatives for the WNBA players thought that they were just going to go in and say, "This is what we want," and something's gonna happen, and they're gonna get close to it. And it's like that's not how you get down. That's not how they do business. That's not playing the game, and the game ain't fair. So it goes back and forth, and just looking from what has happened in the past, um, the 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 lockout in 2011, they ended up coming back and playing only 66 games, and the lockout before that, they dropped the season to 50 games. That's more than half. That's more than half. And even when they dropped it to 50 games, that's more regular season games than the WNBA plays. Then you got to get into, well, what did the players do to help out all of the young guys that were just getting into the league that hasn't been in the league 3, 4, and 5 years and don't have multi-million dollar contracts? What happens to all of those players? What happens if you get somebody that comes in the league making minimum, right? Making the minimum salary, and they play for the Lakers or they play for the Golden State Warriors. You know how much it costs to live in California? You know how much it costs to live in New York if you play for the Knicks? You know how much it costs to live in Boston if you play for the Celtics? And you're not making 8 million a year. What happens to those guys? That's something that the league, the WNBA players, have they thought about that? If they take their ball and go home, what happens to all of those players, all of those rookies that's coming in making 75 a year? Now, the one thing they do have in their favor that didn't exist in 2011 was NIL and social media. Because most of the women that are playing now in the W, at least the rookies and the second year players, every time they step on the court, they taking a pay cut. They still living off their NIL money. And the NIL can last longer because if you got a name, image, likeness, or you got an endorsement that you got in college, and now you in the WNBA and you have even more visibility, those NIL deals are more likely to stick with you long term. But again, you still have a division or a group of players in the W that didn't get a lot of NIL money, that don't have them endorsements. I used this example before. Everybody ain't got Met Gala money like Angel Reese. Everybody ain't got State Farm money like Caitlin Clark. Everybody ain't got CarMax commercials like Sue Bird and Asia Wilson and all of them. All the players ain't got that. So what happens to everybody else? Because if they decide, NECA has to convince all of the other players, they got to vote on that. It's not just NECA and Fee and Stewie that say, we don't like it, so we going to lock out. They got to get together as players and they got to vote on that shit. Because what happens if all the players is like, I don't want to go a whole year. I don't want to go a whole year and not play, or, I was only making 75. Now I'm only making 30 because half the season is gone. They gotta think about those things. An extra 200 million a year. Uh, that's not, that is true. That is true, Greatland. But you got to remember, and this is where the X factor is. If you do a mathematics, the X factor, there's a number there, but you don't know what that number is yet. Right? That's the variable. Because yes, they getting that extra 200 million a year or whatever it is, but where does that go to? What is that? What are the here's what we don't know. What is the operating cost for a team? And you can be general, you can get an average, but the operating cost for the New York Liberty is most likely going to be more than the operating cost for the Indiana Fever or the Dallas Wings or the Connecticut Sun. So you got to look at operating costs. The operating cost for the LA Sparks and the Golden State Valkyries is probably going to be more than the Atlanta Dream. So I'm looking at it from that standpoint. The Phoenix Mercury, their operating costs, what's the cost of living down in Phoenix? It's probably a lot less than LA and Golden State and New York. So you have to figure out what the operating cost is to run the business of a team. How much does it cost to run day-to-day operations in Chicago? Because a few years ago, they didn't even have a practice facility. Angel Reese gets there and she's like, we gotta, let's get this going. And remember when after they signed Angel Reese, they broke ground on a new practice facility and things was moving in the right direction, which is phenomenal. But that shit costs money. That costs money. What's going on, Heather? Will the pay have performance clauses? Kind of. It depends on what they're looking for. Now, let's go back to 2011, right? One of the things that the owners wanted shorter contracts. The players wanted 5 and 6 year deals with guaranteed money. Remember, in the NFL, if you sign $100 million deal, if that deal is over the next 10 years, that's 10 million a year. And what was your signing bonus? The signing bonus means you get that money for signing your name on the dotted line. That's guaranteed money. Let's break it down. If you sign for a 10 million, if you sign a 5-year, $10 million deal, that means they paying you $2 million a year. $2 million a year over the next 5 years, that's the $10 million deal. However, comma, if you sign a 5-year deal for $10 million and you get a $5 million signing bonus, that means they paid you $5 million up front for signing your name, and the only thing they owe you is $5 million over the next 5 years. So now you got a $1 million a year contract. That's how these teams mess around with it. Numbers don't lie, but they do deceive, and that's what they do. They'll sign these big. Um, what's a good example? Kirk Cousins down in the Atlanta Falcons. Quarterback that never made it to the Super Bowl. Atlanta signed him to a $120 million contract. How long was that contract? What was his signing bonus? And what was left? That's what it comes down to. So the owners want to be able to, the owners want shorter contracts. And what they want, what they wanted in 2011 was they wanted to be able to get out from under said contracts. If I see you, D Jordan, if I see you as a primetime player and I want to sign you to a 4-year, $40 million deal, and I give you a $20 million signing bonus, that means that 20 million is yours. I'm on the hook for the other 20 over the next 4 years. So that's 5 million a year to make up the difference. But let's say in year 1 and year 2, you only averaging 8 points a game. When I signed you, you was averaging 24. Now you down to 8. So the owners are like, hey, you not playing up to your contract. Is there a way we can get out of that? We need to buy out your contract. The buyouts. That benefits the owners. If you not playing up to the level that we deem is worth this money, we can buy you out. The players are like, hell no, you signed a deal. Because think about it like this. If you, because the NFL guys, we get this all the time. You signed a contract. Why are you trying to renegotiate for more money? Play out your contract. And it sounds right. The problem is teams can cut you on the drop of a hat. A team can cut you at any given time and still try to buy out the rest of your contract. So the players are like, well, if they can do it to us, we can't do it back. But that was the power that the owners had. So if they trying to buy you out of that contract, players are like, hell no. They came to an agreement, but that is why the signing bonus is so important. You sign this huge deal. How much did you get to sign? Because that money is guaranteed. Once you sign your name on that dotted line, that signing bonus goes into your bank. That is your money. The rest of it, you figure it out as you go. That's what the players want. That's what the women are going to end up. They're going to want something like that. They're going to want some type of guarantee that they're going to get the lion's share of that contract. And off one person that single-handedly made 20%. Yeah. And let me be honest with you. The owners know this. The owners know this. That does not bode well for the players. Because now you figure the owners looked at what happened when Caitlin Clark got hurt. They looked at the viewership drop. And you know what the owners are going to do? I'll say, okay, I know Caitlin Clark is the golden goose, but take her off the table for a second. Because that's one player. And we saw what happens if she gets hurt. What are y'all going to do for me? What are the rest of y'all going to do if something happens to her? What happens to all of this money that you think you generating? And I think, and again, my opinion, that's where the players, they got to tread carefully, because you are 100% correct. All of this didn't happen until Caitlyn got here. Some people would argue Caitlyn and Angel. I don't care how you look at it. I look at it from the standpoint of what happens everywhere she goes. Everywhere she goes is a sellout. So to me, she's the focus. Angel's got something to do with it too, but for the case of this argument, Caitlin Clark is the focus. She's the money train. What happens if she ain't playing? That's what the owners are going to counter with, and the players better have an answer, because now you're talking about measurable statistics. Oh, y'all say y'all this good? Well, let's look what the viewership said. Y'all say y'all this good? Well, let's look at what the attendance was everywhere you went to a game and she didn't play. What was the attendance? What was the average? Were you above or below? What? Now you start looking at all of that other stuff. That stuff matters. And don't think for a second that the owners forget about all of that kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, the owners been losing money for 30 years. They want their money back. They want their money back. So it is there's levels to this. There's levels to this. Let me see something real quick. My bad. Um, there we go. Let me see. Man, I'm way back. You posted all that operating cost budgets, all using, yep, standard pay scale. So they gonna add all of that up, man. They gonna add all of that up. But let me read this. Graylin, where did you post that? You post that on your Twitter? If you did, send it to me, and I'll put it on screen. If you did, like, send it to me in a message or something on the DM on Twitter, and I'll post it up. We can talk about it. Um, Earlier today, this is Annie Constable. The Women's National Basketball Association and the Women's National Basketball Association met in person to discuss their ongoing negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement alongside the WNBPA staff and our CBA advisory team. More than 40 players, including all stars, executive committee members, player reps, attended the meeting. This marked the largest in person player turnout in union history during CBA negotiations, because the players never had a leg to stand on until this year. Until this year. Until Caitlin Clark broke the threshold. State Farm is printing money right now. Until they broke the threshold with Caitlin Clark and brought them all of those advertising rights. The TV stuff is off the chains because everybody wants to see her. They've never had it like this. And I hope they're not acting like it's always been like this. That's a problem. The WNBA's response to our proposal fails to address the priorities we voiced from the day we opted out. A transformational CBA that delivers our rightful share. What I tell you, rightful share of the business that we've built. We, hold on, improves working conditions. That's iffy because that depends on what the team is doing, not necessarily the league. That's on the team. Um, that kind of goes back to that example I used about Angel Reese. Um, Improves working conditions and ensures the success we create lifts both today's players and the generations that follow. Um, we've told the league and teams exactly why we're why their proposals fall short. This business is booming. Media rights, ratings, revenue, team valuations, expansion fees, attendance, ticket sales are all up in historic fashion. But shortchanging the working women who make the business possible stalls growth. That right there is an iffy statement. The only thing more unsustainable than the current system is pretending it can go on forever. It's not complicated. We are committed to the fight. We are committed to returning to the negotiating table, and we will not stop until we achieve the transformational CBA this moment demands. You can't forget how you got there. You can't forget why you are here, and you have to be honest about why you are here. Keep it a buck. And I've said this before. In my opinion, in my opinion, the only person, again, my opinion, the only person who can pound their chest about taking the game, taking the WNBA to the next level is Asia Wilson. Because before I was even paying attention to the WNBA, remember, I told y'all my story. Kelsey Mitchell, her dad, friend of mine, frat brother, went to school together, went to college together. I know Kelsey Mitchell because of her father. I started watching women's basketball to support Kelsey Mitchell. I did not watch the WNBA. If I could find Kelsey Mitchell on TV, I would watch to see her, period. Now, because of CC and everything that's going on, that is what brought me to the game. Watching CC in college, watching Dawn Staley in South Carolina, getting more involved in the women's game. I have not watched a men's college basketball game in 4 years. I've been watching all women and have been enjoying it. And I followed into the league. Followed into the league. So they got to be honest with how this came because the owners are going to remind them. What Jay-Z say? I think I need to send you a reminder. The owners are going to remind them. This is what it looked like before 22 came on the stage. This is what it looks like after. And here's the thing that people forget about. Well, I won't say they forget because everybody been talking about it. But now they know because Clark already got hurt, because we've seen games and we've seen viewership when she does and when she doesn't play, because we've seen her go to different cities and they have to move to different venues, bigger venues, because we've seen that. The owners know without a shadow of a doubt what happens when she is and is not on the court. As I see it right now, you got Asia Wilson, you got Golden State, and you got New York. Asia Wilson is keeping Las Vegas head above water. If she wasn't still with the Aces, they would be on the struggle bus. But Asia Wilson is still Asia Wilson. Angel Reese is keeping Chicago's head above water. And eventually, all of those followers that she got on social media, eventually, more and more of those are gonna translate to views wherever she goes. In my opinion, she ain't quite there yet. She needs more people. There's more people that like her for the fashion and the Met Gala stuff and what she's into all of that, which is good, but that means her audience is split because everybody that likes her fashion don't necessarily like her basketball. Everybody that like her as a Chicago Sky player, a lot of them don't give a damn about what she wore to the Met Gala. So that's a split audience, but it's growing. It's growing. New York Liberty, Sabrina Ionescu and Stewie. Those are your Sabs is still the best thing she could have did was be in that 3-point contest with Steph because everybody still remembers that. I still remember that. And that was before I was watching. But when I started watching, I remembered her name. So I put her on the list as one of the players I wanted to watch when I didn't know anybody. I knew Kelsey Mitchell. I knew Candace Parker. I knew Diana Taurasi. I knew Brittany Griner. I knew the big names. Anybody can say those names. That's like, hey, do you watch basketball? Name a basketball player. And somebody says Michael Jordan. Well, that's too easy. Tell me something else. That's where I was. So we'll see. Can they go up to 200K a year? No. Well, no. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that. That is a good spot. The question is, can they do it across the league? The question is, what is the minimum going to go up to? In my opinion, the minimum salary for the WNBA has at the very least, got to be like 150, 175 across the board. And then you still got city to city, you still got endorsement deals in different places. Like somebody mentioned free rides, cars, and stuff like that. Because I know that's what they did in Las Vegas. They didn't pay him a lot of money, but we can let you stay here at a discounted rate. We got you a car. We pay for the lease on your car for as long as you play for this team. So no, you ain't gonna be driving the Benz, but we'll get you a nice little small SUV, and you can do what you got to do. That's how they sweeten the pot for players that ain't making a lot of money. You take away some of those everyday charges, some of those everyday, life charges that you got to go through. If you do have your own car, is the team paying for your gas? Stuff like that happens all the time. So I'm surprised that, and I guess it's more of the state we are in right now. But I thought when they got the airline deal, who is the official airline of the WNBA, that should have been all over everywhere. That should have been over everywhere because the airlines could have made a lot of money off of that. But I think there's more to that than meets the eye because that gets into like some of the politics that's coming down from Washington and people getting fired. And I'm not getting into a political conversation, but you understand what I'm saying. But you still got endorsement deals. Who's providing the cars? Who's remember all them Hertz commercials with OJ Simpson? Now you got Uber and you know what happens if they provide Uber rides to and from every practice and every game, and the team pays for it. You still, if you want to go out, if you in Vegas and you want to take your friends and family out on the strip, you pay for that. But for you getting back and forth to practice, your meals, stuff like that, we got you. So the out of pocket expense is minimal or at least minimized. Those are some of the perks that they could probably throw in there to sweeten the pot. But regardless of what they throw in, it's gonna all come back to this. It's gonna all come back to what are the owners willing to give up to the players? If and this is the big shoe that keeps kicking the players in the butt. The owners own 60% of the league. 60. That's not half. That's a majority stake. So while you can have a voice, not much power as you think. So You got to be realistic at some point. You got to be realistic at what do you want? What do you want to get? Increased salaries and revenue sharing. Well, that's going to be a number one. But what happens if, because this is the quid pro quo that they got to work on. If they get the increased salary and if they get more revenue sharing, the minimum the minimum salary might not go up as high. Instead of going up to 150 or 175, maybe it only goes up to 100 and 125. But they get more revenue sharing. So that's the back and forth that they got to argue. Soften salary cap, absolutely. What that means is we still have the opportunity to make more money. The enhanced working conditions, I spoke on that before. That's going to be difficult. How do you enforce that? How do you enforce better working conditions if down in Dallas, how many people did they get to a game? You see the reason why the Sun are leaving. The Sun play at a casino and they couldn't even fill that up. So the owners of the Mohegan Sun, the casino, they washing their hands of it. And now they talking about they're gonna end up in Rhode Island or, you know, somewhere. Everybody wants them to be in Boston, but what if Boston don't want them? So they gotta. This is the other thing. Now, see, I don't know how this would go though. I don't know how this would go because it's one thing to say, "Hey, we want a bigger percentage of the media rights deals." It's a whole nother thing to say, "Hey, we want a bigger percentage of media rights deals, and we want to be at the table in every negotiating uh, meeting. We want to be at the table when y'all have these meetings discussing how much money these networks are going to pay you. We want to be there." I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. Uh, in my opinion, the pension for retired players is a must. You got to have that. At a professional league, you must have that. Here's the problem. How far do you go back? Is it going forward or is it a plus? Is it a minus 5 to 10 years? So what that means is you get pension, but we can go back 10, 15 years for all the players that just missed it. So that would go back and encapsulate um, Candace Parker, Diana Taurasi, Ella Del Don, Maya Moore, all of those players that stopped playing 4 or 5 years ago. They might be able to get caught into it. If they want to do that, I would guess that the owners don't want to go backwards. They only want to go forward. The NFL did that. The NFL has done that. They didn't want to do it, and they have very hard restrictions on former players and what they are eligible for. They give you minimums. You got to play this long. You got to be vested. All of that type of stuff. They put rules in place. So again, they might get something similar or something. They might get something close to what they want. What's going on down here? What? Sorry about that. They might get something close to what they want, but it's not going to be exactly what they want. Because again, the owners still, the owners still want the lion's share of that money. So, Greatly, you keep saying the 2 billion, but they actually got more than that. The 2 billion is what they wanted to give the WNBA. They got more than 2 billion. So the big thing is the inclusion on the media rights negotiations. Um, and the increased salary and revenue sharing because the media rights is included in that revenue. The media rights deals is, to me, that's the biggest piece of the pie because that in itself is what is going to give the players the biggest boost in salary in financial gain. I think I mentioned this last night, or no, I mentioned this on the Twitter Spaces. Um, the NFL gets like 330 million per team strictly, strictly from media rights. That's right off the top. So you think about think about how much money that is if they're giving every NFL team 330 million off the top for media rights deals. And the NFL is okay with that. Because what that means is they got enough money to give every team 330 something $1 million and they still making a ton of money where they ain't gonna miss it. That's how much money that is. And they do that every year. I know some of y'all don't really pay attention to football, but the last 2 years, and it's going to happen again next year, the salary cap for the NFL has gone up. So what that means is teams have a little bit more money to spend on their draft picks, free agents, and things of that nature. The last 3 years, the salary cap has gone up. That's why Milt Williams can go to the Patriots and sign 98 million. And Max Crosby can sign for the 90 something million he signed. And Jalen Hurts can get the $120 million deal or whatever. And then two days later, another quarterback gets the bigger contract than that. Every year it's going up. And the only reason it's going up is because it's making so much money. So the one thing that the ladies have to do is they might not get everything they want right now, but they can set it up for the long game. They can set it up that way. Are they willing to be patient for it though? That's the question. That's the question. Um, Post it up, abs. Post it up. I'll look at it. But I already know. I'm looking at this now just from, um, what they're looking for. But if you contextually, if you want to post it up in the chat or put the link in the chat, I'll check it out. I'll put it up on the big board. So, um, yep. Don't forget that. Listen. That's what I've been trying to say. Just because you see a number, you got to understand how that number breaks down. If you got 200 million, what percentage of that goes here? What percentage of that goes to the owners? What percentage of that, you got to put money in different places. It just doesn't go in one person's pocket. And I think people lose sight of that fact. Good. That's a good point, Harley. Very good point. And I think that in a nutshell is what a lot of the players don't understand. They citing all of this money they making, but again, I think I said it earlier. How does all of that money get divvied out? The staff working at Gamebridge, they don't work for free. All of them trainers with medical degrees, you know how much your copay is at your doctor? Now you playing for a pro team. Those doctors and those trainers, them salaries is high. You are a trainer for a professional basketball team. It's a little bit more than just wrapping ankles. So you think those salaries aren't high? You think the graphics guy that puts all the graphics on the jumbotron at Gamebridge, you think that dude ain't getting paid? You think the sound guy that's Caitlin, number 22, the guard from Iowa, you think that guy that does the voiceover ain't getting paid? You think everybody that works as cameraman, I got a good friend of mine. He is a NFL cameraman, been that way for 25 years. I know how much it costs to film them games, the production value. I know how much all of that stuff costs. The behind the scenes stuff is what I'm talking about. That stuff is expensive. And we ain't even talking about what everybody does see. So there's a lot of costs that people just, because out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind. Um, um, Brian, that's a good example because LeBron could have asked for more money at any point in time in his career. But LeBron was trying to set it up so he could have people to play with too. That point of view has gotten more popular with some players, but the majority of the players still trying to get theirs. They trying to get their bag. That's one of the things I talk about when I talk about the Philadelphia Eagles a lot. Jalen Hurts, when Jalen Hurts got his contract and renegotiated his contract, there's a thing on YouTube about it. When the agent told him that he was the paid quarterback in NFL history, I mean, he was only that for like a day and a half, and then somebody broke his record. But the first question he asked his agent was, "Well, how are my teammates going to get paid?" And she had to break it down about how the way his contract was structured, it wouldn't prevent anybody else from making a big payday and getting a bag. Because ultimately, what Jalen Hurts has figured out is he can't win it by himself. You got to have the squad around you. You got to have Saquon. You got to have AJ. You got to have Devontae. You got to have Dallas. You got to have, everybody on defense. Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper, DeJean. You got to have everybody. You got to have a squad to do it. Same thing with basketball. Look at what happened with Jordan. Jordan didn't do a damn thing till Pippen came on the scene. Kelsey Mitchell was languishing in Indiana. Kelsey Mitchell has always been good, but she done played on some teams that didn't get double-digit wins. Last year, they made a joke about it. They made the playoffs. She said, "This is the first time I'm making it to the playoffs. I ain't never been there before. I don't know how to act." She been in the league 6 years, balling like she balling. So all of that stuff comes into play because that's important. Do you want to make your money? Or do you want to set yourself up so you can have a team around you so you have an opportunity to win? Do you want to win or do you want the bag? That's a very powerful question. Do you want to win or do you want the bag? Sometimes, most of the time, you can't have both. Miles Sanders is a running back, was a good running back for the Eagles. Got the bag and went to Carolina. He ain't winning nothing out there in Carolina. Ain't sniffing the playoffs. Do you want to win? Do you want the bag? They got a soft cap now. If they do put a cap on it, Wayne, if they put a cap on it, they gotta pay the players a hell of a lot more. Because that if they put a cap on it in the short term, that should benefit the players. Because I'm not letting the owners put a salary cap on the league and I'm still making 75,000. Ain't no way. So if the players association lets the owners put a salary cap, then the minimum has got to be 200. At the very bottom, 175 across the board, maybe more. So it could be, but that is a very large bargaining chip. So Timmy, I've said that before. I've said that before, bro. And I hope they don't get themselves in trouble with the type of talk. Even what I saw in the thing here, you know, um, like this right here. This business is booming. Media rights, ratings, revenue, and see, she put it out there. I'm saying she because I'm referring to NECA because NECA Ogumake is the president. So I'm going to say she put it out there. You said media rights, ratings, revenue, and team valuations. So the team value. Um, New York, Las Vegas, Indiana, Golden State. I'm not putting the LA Sparks in there. Golden State has surpassed almost everybody. So as far as the games that you want to go to that are always going to be packed, and they are Indiana. Now Golden State is packing the house with or without Caitlin Clark. New York is packing the house with or without Caitlin Clark. And we can get into the viewership ratings and the attendance levels of all of the teams when she plays and when she doesn't. Last year was night and day, and people can argue about it, but those are the type of that's really not even math. That's just this is what it was. It's not a deception. So the teams that are in my opinion that really have the leverage, Indiana, New York, Golden State, and Las Vegas. And Las Vegas is iffy because I don't even want to say Las Vegas. It's Asia Wilson. And I gave you the reasons earlier. Asia, I knew about Asia before I started watching. Prime example. Because everybody talked all of that, you know, WNBA is growing and we was doing this before Caitlin got here and all of that type of talk, right? Before I was paying attention, before I was a fan of Caitlin Clark or Indiana or watched the Indiana Fever. I remember hearing about Las Vegas, and Las Vegas was the first team in the WNBA to sell out their season tickets before the season began. Las Vegas was making moves before the big hit happened. They were making moves and things were happening and people were paying attention because of Asia Wilson. Back to back MVPs, back to back championships. That does mean something. It does mean something that New York won the championship last year. That does mean something because the visibility that you get from being in New York doesn't get diminished because it was the New York Liberty. Brooklyn wasn't winning nothing. You saw what just happened to the Knicks. So who's the last team in New York to win the title? That kind of stuff matters. But it's only four teams. Three and a half, really. Again, I'm it's a wishy-washy situation with in Las Vegas because they're on the struggle bus. But Asia Wilson is still doing Asia Wilson things. So she's still, if I'm in Vegas, I'm going to an Aces game so I can watch Asia Wilson play. Are you gonna do that and just keeping it a buck? If I'm going to if I go to Seattle, do I want to go to a Storm game? Malonga don't even play. So do I want to see NECA? How much um how much demand is it to see Skylar Diggins? So you got to look at those things. Look at the tickets. That's to me, that's where the attendance and the viewership matter because you can clearly see the audience will tell you who they want to see. The audience will tell you where the value in the league lies. Caitlin Clark, obviously. Angel Reese, obviously. Sabrina Ionescu and Stewie, obviously. In my opinion, I think it's more Sabrina than Stewie, even though Sabrina had a horrible finals last year. I still think Sabrina might be as popular, if not more, than Stewie. Again, strictly because of the NBA thing, the 3-point contest. So um players considered a superstar, both. KGK, it depends on who asked the question. Somebody left a negative comment on one of my videos that talked about that. They were talking about how Caitlin Clark has had a trash year and she don't even deserve to be in the All-Star game. I was like, sure she does. Absolutely she does. Because the All-Star voting is a popularity contest. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Every year you have an All-Star game, somebody gonna get snubbed. It is a popularity contest. Period. Now, if you want to have a comparatively like the NFL, if you want to have an all-pro team in the NFL, you'll see such and such was a 4-time Pro Bowler and a 3-time All-Pro. What that means is they were a 4-time Pro Bowler. That means just like in the WNBA, the crowd voted who's your favorite player, and they tallied up all the votes. And you got Lamar Jackson, you got Jalen Hurts, you got Saquon Barkley, you got Josh Allen, you got all of these people because they are the popular players. The All-Star vote, Pro Bowl, is a popularity contest. So by that measure, absolutely, Caitlin Clark deserved to be there. Now, if they want to have some type of all-pro vote, where they weigh it heavily on what has been your performance, or it's strictly by the stats. Who's the top 3-point shooter in the league? Who's the top field goal percentage in the league? Who's the top rebounder in the league? Who's the top in steals in the league? If you want to have two teams and you take the top 20 in every category, that's by talent. Had to play a minimum of whatever. Got to play a minimum of 13 games. So that eliminates everybody that's been hurt for however long it was. It's the same situation when you talk about the Olympics from last year, and everybody was like, how the hell is Chelsea Gray on this team? And she ain't even played this year. And everybody was using that example as to why they were pissed off when they left off Caitlin Clark. At least for me, then you saw Chelsea Gray play, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. She's still as good as Chelsea Gray is. She wasn't that good in the Olympics because she was hurt and she wasn't back to 100%. But I use that example as people want who they want. Now, if they want to come through with an all pro WNBA team and let the players vote on it, or just go by the stats, we're having an all star game based on who are you can still have two captains and say, okay, we picking the best shooters from the East and the West. That way, it's not even really a choice. You got the top 10, you got the top 10, and then y'all go at it. But guess what? Everybody ain't going to be watching that because their favorite player might not make the team. The most popular player is not always the best player. And people think that it has to be that way, and it doesn't. It does not. The best player is not the most popular player. I used this example last year. Asia Wilson was unquestionably the best player in the league. I would say she kind of still is. I was giving a little bit, Fee was a little bit better earlier. The way Asia's been playing these last 4 or 5 games, there you go. They can go tit for tat back and forth. My point is simply this: it is unquestionable that either Fee or Asia are the best players in the league. But every time they play away, that home team doesn't have to move to a bigger venue. The demand is not as great, even though Asia Wilson is the best player. So it doesn't always work out that way. And that's okay. That's just the way things go. That's just the way things go. Nike passed away. Nike bought his NIL selling Kobe shoes. Yeah. Um, it's a little bit more nuanced than that, but it's kind of difficult to kind of, that's apples to oranges, because for the simple fact that, like you mentioned, Kobe is gone and LeBron is still here. LeBron's still making moves though. Don't get it twisted. LeBron is the only player that I can remember in NBA history to absolutely live up to and smashed his expectations. Think about all of the other players that came out of high school. How many players right off the bat immediately could was doing it like LeBron? Kobe didn't do it. Darius Miles didn't do it. Um, it's a short list, very short list. Seattle does do pretty good, but comparatively, do they? I got to look at their stats. I got to look at their stats because I got to look at, and I'm looking at it strictly from like what are the viewership numbers? I'm sure they get good. Oh, I don't know what's their home attendance. The Storm is popular. Okay, okay, Wayne. Okay, listen, I am not above people correcting me if I don't have all the information. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Put a link or something in the chat and we can check it out. I ain't got no problem doing that. But I think my point was, if you want to compare like Seattle to New York, New York's gonna come out on top. So um uh it- her appeal is growing. I agree with you, but her is growing. Whether people want to believe it or like it or not, is growing. Angel is doing the damn thing. And now that she's, in my opinion, now Angel is playing a hell of a lot better than she was. And she's playing up to the hype. That's what she's doing. And if she can stay consistent at that, I mean, like I always say, the girl gets a double double in her sleep. And I don't care if people want to poo poo it and go on about the me bounds and the she bounds and all of that type of stuff. All I know is ain't nobody stopping her. I don't give a damn. To me, that's the same as, if you win a game, they want to talk about how you win. It doesn't say ugly win or ugly loss. It just says win or loss. How you get it done is how you get it done. Shit, we just won the Super Bowl and people still trying to tell us that Jalen Hurts is not a good quarterback. Stop playing. And you know what I say? I can't hear you. The sound of me polishing my ring is too loud. It's a give and take, Breon. It's a give and take. If they push the salary cap, what are they giving up? Every idea that somebody has, what's on the other end of it? If I say the players should get $200,000 should be the minimum salary for the players in the WNBA, what are you giving up on the other end? The owners want something for that. That costs. You got to pay. You basically got to pay with a decision. We want the minimum salary to be 200,000. Oh, okay. That means you can only have 11 roster spots instead of 12. That means your revenue sharing, instead of whatever percent, drop it down about 4 points, because that's what you got to give to get. So while you're not wrong, the question is, whatever it is you think they should get, what are they willing to give up to get it? I like that, Tim. I like that. The merch is going to continue to go up. The merch is going to continue to go up. Think about what's coming in the next 4 or 5 years. Juju Watkins, Olivia Miles, Hannah Hidalgo, Sarah Strong, AZ Fudd. I know I'm forgetting a whole bunch. Malaysia for Wiley, Ashlyn Watkins. There, Silas Swords, Toby Fournier. All of these young players are coming out soon. And the one thing that Caitlin and Angel have proven is that if you are a big star in college, your audience, your fan base will follow you. I don't think it was like that before. Even as great as Candace Parker was, she couldn't break the threshold. She couldn't make people pay attention. As good as she couldn't break through and capture and keep the attention. That's what you got to do. You got to keep it. It's one thing for people to tune in every now and then. Oh yeah, such and such playing. It's a whole nother thing. I got to see every game. That's where I am with it right now. I want to see every game Caitlin plays. I want to see every game Angel plays. I want to see every game Paige plays. I want to see every game Tahina Pow Pow plays. Invested. I'm invested in the league. They have to get people invested. And now they got a player that makes people want to invest in the league. How are they going to capitalize on that? Breon, you 100% correct. Don't mean that she's not the most popular player in the league. Sorry. Michael Jordan sucked his first couple years. He was dunking on everybody and sticking the tongue out, and Chicago was god awful. They tuned in to see him dunk. I don't know if you heard my content before. I'm an OG. I'm 55. So I was around, I was a teenager. I was 14 years old when Michael Jordan happened in 1984. I remember watching Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson. I saw that happen in real time. Michael Jordan is a direct result, or ESPN is a direct result of Michael Jordan. Sports Center happened and blew up because of Michael Jordan. Everybody wanted to see Michael Jordan's home runs. And then a couple of years later, everybody wanted to see Ken Griffey Jr. hit a home run. Everybody wanted to see Tiger Woods swing the golf club. And Sports Center got bigger and bigger and bigger. So I saw that happen in real time. Um, Kennedy Carter was a victim. She don't nah. You got to know the history of Kennedy Carter. She did that to herself. They brought her back, I believe, 3 times, and it didn't end well. And I agree, and I'm somebody that thinks she should be in the league, but I understand why they don't want her back. It's bad for business. 'Cause, uh, yeah, but I'm gonna guess that there's some more that you probably missing. There's probably some more that you. I like where you headed with it. Um, and the funny thing is The owners could have gave the WNBA more. The owners got enough money. They could have gave the WNBA 6 billion. They didn't have to just give them two. They could have gave them 6 billion. They could have gave them 4 billion, and it would have made another. They could have gave them 3 billion, and it would have made a world of difference. But that's the problem. What I'm doing right now is the problem. I'm sitting here talking like, oh, they could have gave them 6 billion. They could have gave them just 4 billion, as if $1 billion is just chump change in your pocket. You got to look at the macro. If you go from 200 million, now you got to deal for with a billion. So it's easy for me to throw those numbers around because it ain't my money. But that's still a lot of money. If you losing 30 million, $40 million a year, if you got a $40 million loss for the past 29 years, that's a lot of money that you gotta pay back. That's the other thing that I'm thinking about. The WNBA Players Association, they want to look forward. The owners, they got 30 years of losses that they trying to recuperate. They want their money. What Denzel Washington say? Jake, I want my money, Jake. So they gotta. Everybody want to get paid. Don't get it twisted. When you lend somebody $100, you want that money back. What you think them owners want to get paid too? Don't get it twisted. Breon, Chicago being a very rich city does not mean that they support their teams well. Yeah, it's going up. Chicago's is going up. They building on it. I appreciate that, Ebs. I'm gonna try to see it. Did you post it to my Twitter feed? Let me see if you did. Oh, that's Constable. Let me see if I got it. I don't see anything. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. I got no DMs, so uh it's a lot of moving parts, man. It's a lot of moving parts. Yeah. What's up, Wardy Mac? Darius Miles, Amari Stoudemire. I think Amari Stoudemire had a good. Even Darius Miles did not pan out. Amari Stoudemire did, but the thing with LeBron, I don't think there's ever been a player out of high school that dominated like immediately. Like from the rip, LeBron was different at 18 years old. And I know Amari was good. Darius started out good, and he just kind of got lost in the sauce. But yeah, I mean, it's a short list. It's one thing to make it, but it's another thing to get into the league as a young kid, 18 years old, and dominate. Kobe didn't even do that. It took Kobe a couple years, and Shaq. Thanks, Tiff. I appreciate that. Trying to keep it informational, and you know me, I don't know everything. That's why I tell people, if you find something, put it in the chat. Put the link in the chat. I'll go look it up. I'm big about doing the homework because there's so many people that don't right now, talking out of their ass and don't even either vet information or don't do the homework. If I say something wrong and you got stats or something to prove it, please, please, please let me know. let me know. Um, what is don't doesn't Seattle play in like a 20 or 30,000 seat arena or something like that? Um, Scotland, I agree with you. She ain't very exciting, missing all them damn shots and being hurt on the bench. But for the most part, I agree with you. Scotland, where you from, man? Are you from Scotland? Like you a Edinburgh, Glasgow kind of guy? Like, holler at me. I don't know if you know. I used to play for the Claymores. I have affinity, a very fond affinity from my Scottish brothers. I am an honorary Scot. Don't get it twisted, man. Blue and white all day, bro. Greatly, we gonna see, man. Because all of this is gonna change because whatever monies they getting for this $2.2 billion deal, which works out to like what 210 million a year. Um, the owners are trying to take the majority of the act. They want their money back, man. I don't. It is what it is. The All Star game is just a conduit where everybody's in the same place at the same time. That's why they had 40 people at the meeting today. That only happens because it's at an All Star game. That's why they do it. That's exactly why they do it. So you can have the most participation. And usually in a situation like that, a lot of things get done. I was watching let me see. I was watching a YouTube video about the 2011 lockout and 2011 NBA lockout. There we go. And I just want to show this screenshot. I'm not going to play the whole video, but I want to. It was Derek Fisher. He was the president of the Players Association. But what was it? Was it this one? Maybe it was another one. Here we go. That's what I was looking for. There we go. This picture right here. This is what I wanted to show. This is what I wanted to show. And what I want you to notice is look at all of the players in the background. Now, what you have is you got a lot of players. Um, every one of those players is probably the player rep for their particular team. So you got one or two players from all the teams in the NBA. How many teams in the NBA? 32 teams, I think. So you got about 60, you got 30 to 60 players if they send one person or if they send two. Because you got a president and a vice president, and you got various other people that might a secretary and all of that type of stuff. So you might have 4 to 6 players that represent your particular team multiplied by the number of teams, and you got all of those players at the meeting. This is a much bigger picture that you just can't see. So, looking at it from the standpoint of the WNBA, the WNBA don't have a lot of teams. They got 13 teams now. So, you're not going to have a lot of people. So, the fact that they had 40 people at the meeting because you had a lot of players show up because of the All Star game, that's just the way of showing support and solidarity with what's going on. So not the first time that that happened, but that's why they do it at the All Star game. I don't think the All Star game has no bearing on the negotiations whatsoever, other than the fact that okay, Caitlin Clark was in on the meeting. Caitlin Clark probably didn't say a damn thing. What's she gonna say? She hasn't been in the meetings, so it, that's just a show of support. But the owners have been dealing with the same 4 to 6 people from the giddy up. NECA, uh, Stewie, Satu, and who else? I know it's somebody else missing. So they do it at the All-Star games or at a common event so you can have the most participation because you don't ever want to be in a situation where it's like, well, I didn't know about it. How come I didn't hear about it? Because stuff like that happens all the time. Regardless, I guarantee you, when in 2011, when the NBA signed their deals, there was some guys in the league that did not like the new CBA. People were complaining about it. I mean, shit. Look at LeBron. Look how young LeBron is. But he was the most popular player in the league at that particular moment, so he had to be there. Carmelo Anthony had to be there. Baron Davis. Look at the faces. D Wade. They had to be there. They were the most popular players. So it makes sense that the most popular player in the WNBA is on site. She ain't got to say nothing. She ain't got to say nothing. I actually, if she did say anything, it would probably be counterproductive. So that's the way it goes, man. There's a lot of levels to this, bro. A lot of levels. Um, Glorilla, yeah, I don't think Glorilla is helping in the CBA negotiations, though. uh, if the owners give too much on the BRI, they can start losing money when people like CC get hurt. That is true. That is true. And they definitely have the stats to prove that. That's like I was talking earlier. They already know what the viewership and what the money looks like when Caitlin Clark ain't playing. They already know that. If the one thing the owners are not gonna do is they not gonna play with their money. So they are gonna have their facts and figures. They done already hired people to do a study, and they gonna have their shit together. Believe that. They're gonna have their stuff together. I think NIL is the key to capturing an audience and bringing them from college to the pros for the women. Calamity is already started. It's already started, and I don't think it has. The NIL is a part of it, but I just think um, with Caitlin Clark, with Dawn Staley, with Angel Reese, what they did at LSU, Dawn Staley going undefeated, Paige Becker's coming back and winning at UConn. Um, the whole drama that happened with Notre Dame and Hannah Hidalgo and Olivia Miles, Juju Watkins going down. There is a lot of hell, even the whole Sedona Prince situation. You got storylines, compelling storylines in college right now, and people are following those stories. Next NCAA women's season is going to be lit. It is going to be lit because everybody's going to be watching to see how Juju Watkins is looking, even though she ain't going to play next year. Everybody's going to be sitting on pins and needles wondering when she coming back. AZ Fudd is going to be a senior, and she playing with Sarah Strong, who was the best freshman in the country last year. And then you got Silas Swords at Michigan. Then you got Toby Fournier, the girl from Canada that was dunking with two hands since she was 14. She's playing at Duke. Olivia Miles is down at TCU now. So when TCU plays Notre Dame, if that game ever happens, that is going to be lit. So there are a lot of storylines that is going to follow these players into the pros. And again, the owners know what's coming. The owners know what's coming. They know Juju Watkins is coming, and she's coming with a following. Olivia Miles, if she plays anything like she just did in the Eurobasket with the US team, everybody's watching her because she got the shake and bake and she got the attitude to go with it. Hannah Hidalgo is just a force on the court. Can they live without each other? That's the question. You saw what Haley Van Lith did when she left LSU and went to TCU. She lit it up. Is Olivia Miles going to do the same? Is Hannah Hidalgo going to have another good year without her? Those are the storylines they watching, and we are going to follow them. Hannah Hidalgo, when she gets drafted, She from right here in South Jersey. So you know I'm watching her. When Olivia Miles get drafted, when AZ Fudd get drafted, following all of those players. All of them. So the owners know they're in a good place. The owners know who's coming. They see the future. Now that's the one thing that NECA, if she's the one that wrote that letter, that's the one thing she got right. The future is looking good. They know what's coming. So it's interesting. The tone from the players leaving Thursday CBA negotiations with the league was not celebratory. I didn't think it would be. Instead, there was an undeniable sense that the meeting, which produced the largest in person player turnout, did not yield strong results. I didn't think they would. I didn't think they would. So, 50% of the fans don't like that slow, methodical game, young bigs. That's going to keep happening more. I ain't going to lie. I was pissed off when Minnesota cut Alyssa Peely when they had her on the bench all year. And the one time they let her play, she dropped 20 on them. And that's all you saw on her. She's been picking up splinters ever since then. But that's Cheryl Reeves. I was pissed off. The only true native player in the league in Minnesota. And you cut her. And she good. Yeah, Philadelphia, we got to get a name. You got to get a name. I do like the Portland Fire. I think their logo is fire. Me being a graphics guy, that's the first thing I picked up on. I was like, okay, that's tight. That's tight. Yeah, the refs have got to get better, and they know that. Kathy Engelbert knows that. The owners know that. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Ah, you from the Highlands? Okay, okay, okay. Uh, this might be a reach. How far are you away from? How far are you away from Glen Eagles? We went up to Glen Eagles as a team. We stayed there for a weekend. We did the falconry. We played golf. We we did skeet shooting. We had a good time that weekend. So yeah, Glen Eagles. And I was my first year we was in Edinburgh and we stayed at a hotel. It was right on the coast of the Fifth of Firth. I'm getting deep with the geography. We were on the fifth of Firth. I think that's what it's called. So yeah, man, I had good times in Scotland, man. First year in Edinburgh, the second 2 years we were in Glasgow, right on the train station. Right, we stayed in the hotel that was the train station. Loved it, loved it. The best Italian food I've ever had in my life came from Scotland, for sure, dude. Got mad love for Scotland, bro. So, but yo, man, this has been a crazy. I didn't see that nobody jumped on the mic though. Everybody got scared, but um, hey, man, this was a fire, man. This was a fire conversation tonight. Fire conversation. I don't know. What did we get up to? We got up to we got up to 89 people on the chat. That's good stuff. I hope everybody hit the smash the like button, all that type of good stuff. This was a fire conversation, man. I enjoy it. Like I said, I'm always looking to talk to people. I'm getting more and more involved again into getting into the Twitter spaces. You might hear me start a couple rooms in the future because I like the conversation. I like the conversations here. Um, and we got to get that number up, man. My goal is to be consistently above 100 people live on the stream at any one time. That's my goal. That's the short term goal. The long term goal is to you see that you see that man over my shoulder here, that guy right there, Tom Grossi. He is a football influencer. He is a big Green Bay Packers fan, and I watch his stuff. He rated my channel one time. This dude has like 8 to 10,000 people watching him every NFL Sunday. 8 to 10,000 people. And one day I was watching his stream because I tune in. I think he's funny, and all he does is he does play by play, and he talks in between the plays, and I like it. But he does what's called a raid at halftime, and he finds somebody in the chat, somebody that's doing a live stream like him, and he tells everybody in his chat, all 10,000 people in his chat, to go raid the other channel and boost the numbers. And then he did that to me. So I got back in touch with him to say thank you. And then he did it again. And so I told him I would put the sticker somewhere in my background to let everybody know that he was there, because I appreciate that. He ain't have to do that. And it helped me out. I got a bunch of subscribers, and, you know, but that's the important thing that I learned, because even though you got like, just like right now, I got like 50 something people watching me right now. For me, that's great. That's why I say my goal is to be consistently above 100. But he's got like 8,000, 9,000. The most I've seen on his stream at one time, I think I was on one of his streams, and he had like 16,000 people watching him live. I was like, how can I be down? Like, that's the goal I'm trying to get to. But can't forget also, he been doing this for like 8, 9 years. So this is not a marathon, or this is not a sprint. It's a marathon. You know what I mean? So it takes your time, and I'm building my way up to it. So that's why I tell people, tell your friends, bring somebody, invite somebody. When I go live, send that link to somebody and say, hey, I'm going to be here. Holler at me in the chat, and y'all can talk to each other in the chat. That's how you build it and grow. But the most important thing is being able to have these conversations. People on my squad: Tiffany, Wayne G, Scotland, D Jordan. Um, if you see the names and you see a wrench, that means these are people that have been rocking with me for a while. Tiffany been rocking with me for a while. So if you see the wrench, when you've been rocking me for long enough, I will give you a wrench. So, and that's what's up. I'm just building my squad, man, building my squad. So, but this has been a phenomenal conversation, man. I appreciate everybody in the chat. The chat was on fire tonight. Chat was on fire tonight. And no nonsense. We didn't have no nonsense tonight. That's the other good thing, man. We try to keep it real, keep it respectful, and just have good conversation, because we all adults, man. I just turned 55 last weekend. I ain't here for no foolishness. So, Graylin Clark, I'm gonna hook you up pretty soon, man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do this right now where everybody can watch. Graylin Clark, man. Just so y'all can see it. This is somebody, he has been consistent showing up on the streams. And like literally, this is how it happens. Let me find you um El Professor. He's somebody that's been in. Um Dang it, now I can't. There you go. There you go. Yep. Yeah, he's a member too. He should have been had this. D Jordan, you're a member? I'm tripping. Y'all members, and I didn't give y'all wrenches. Why didn't y'all say something? I'm giving everybody wrenches that deserve it. Let me go through the list. D, I got you, D. You got a wrench. Did I miss anybody else? Tiffany, you got a wrench. Trying to see if there's anybody that you are a member and I didn't give you a wrench. Please let me know. Please, please. You can become members. When you get that little crown and you a member, if you got something to say, I'm gonna bring you to the front of the class. Appreciate that, Tiff. For all my football heads, specifically those who are in the Philadelphia area, I just got confirmation today. Monday at 6 p.m. I'm gonna be on with Dave Spadero. He's the Eagles insider guy. He's like the face of the Eagles. Um, I talked with him last a couple months ago, and I wanted to get him on right before we get ready for camp. So Dave Spadero, I'm probably gonna have some content or at least some thumbnails and stuff out tomorrow for promotion. But Dave Spadero, Monday at 6 p.m. So did that change? Hold on, let me see something. Yep, Monday at 6. So just a reminder. So, but I appreciate everybody in the chat. I'm about to get up out of here. D Jordan, Wayne G. Wayne G, you was coming with the heat tonight, man. I appreciate you. Ab Scotland. Scotland, don't be a stranger, man. Like I said, I got affinity for all my Scottish brothers. Timothy Lopez bringing the heat. Chicago Cheetah. I got love for Angel Reese in the sky. A lot of people think I don't, but I come from a coach's perspective and somebody that played at the pro level. I like Angel Reese. I like Caitlin Clark, but I'm gonna give game observations. If they sucking in one area or another, I'm gonna call it like I see it. Don't mean that I don't like them. So, but I appreciate you. Who else did I miss? Tiff as usual. D as usual. Nicholas. I see Nicholas in there. I appreciate you. Um, a lot of people. A lot of people. Darren. Darren was in the chats. Wody Mac. My brother Wody Mac. KGK. I appreciate you. Navy Mustang. I appreciate you, Navy Mustang. Uh, yeah, we got a lot of people, man. So I just appreciate everybody being on the stream tonight. We had a good time, and we are going to do this again. We're going to see what's going to happen tomorrow. I think I might produce a couple of things tomorrow. I'm not sure if I go live. If I do go live, it'll probably be late again, like right around the 10 p.m. area. So check the Twitter feeds, check my IG, my Instagram, and we'll keep you up to date. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter. Usually I'm answering. Um, there you go. Coach underscore Marcus 06. Memberships are active. Don't forget to subscribe. Call ins are welcome. So um, that's it right there. But I'm gonna get out of here, man. Y'all have a phenomenal night. I appreciate y'all, and I'm gonna see y'all real soon. Peace. I'm out.